This episode is brought to you by our friends over at Fume. Fume cartridges are crafted from medical-grade polyester designed for use with essential oils. Fume, a non-vape, non-nicotine, non-tobacco device, works by replacing the hand-to-mouth fixation, calming nervous tension through fidgeting, and distracts you from the bad habits with delicious flavors. Psychologists have shown stopping a bad habit cold turkey is very hard for your brain. The Fume handheld device has a built-in fidget, also has a weight similar to most vape pens. If you're interested in replacing old bad habits with new good habits, head on over to tryfume.com/D410M and get yourself a free pack of toppers with your purchase. The toppers is a perfect new accessory designed with your comfort in mind. Slip it onto the mouthpiece for a softer, warmer feel. So replace those old habits with a new habit, a good habit. Simply go to tryfume.com/D410M. That's tryfume.com/D410M.
Digital 410 Productions proudly presents the What's in Your Head podcast.
Digitized live from
Your company name here.
the studios in Cape Coral, Florida. It's the What's in Your Head podcast.
What's up, OG5? We're back, and it's, what is it, Saturday. Hey, it's been a crazy week. We've had to keep pushing the show. I'm pushing the show, and I finally got the guys together. I said, hey, here's a thought. Let's just get drunk and do a show. And then all of a sudden, hey, okay, we're good. I can do it. Everybody's counters cleared up real fucking quick, so here we are. I don't think we'll be on here long enough to come to the culmination of one's drunkenness, but you can definitely enjoy us as we get started on our evening. Mike,
Speak
Morgan,
for yourself,
what's
sir.
going on?
I've been drinking all day.
I've been drinking since I was 5. What's going on, Morgan?
What's up?
How are you? Morgan looks like he's like in a post revolutionary, like futuristic movie. Like he just got arrested and he's waiting to be distributed on.
He does. He
on
looks
like either
he's in an interrogation room.
like what is it? I'll buy that for $1. Either RoboCop or Running Man or one of those movies. Like they have the futuristic prison outfit on. Like if he stood up, it'd just be a big old cloak, like the suicide vest. It's made out of heavy canvas.
Yeah.
Turn to your left. Turn to your right. Yep, pretty much.
Mm.
So what's new in your all's neighborhood?
I got nothing much interesting
I
right off. And, you know, weather's been hot.
Yep.
It's been raining.
We finally got some rain down here. It's been so dry down here. The Everglades are fucking look like the desert. All our canals are 5 feet low. And did you get a new microphone?
Yeah, the fucking huh?
Did you get a new microphone?
No.
I don't ever remember it being silver. I always thought it was black.
Oh, it's usually because it's
Uh,
my setup's messed up
down
because
in his
Sam's been
naval
in here.
region.
Sam's been in here playing video games and shit, so it's a
Damn
little.
you, Sam. Sam, I am down with the program. Green eggs and ham. Yosemite Sam. So it's been a while. Did we talk about my running with the barrel and the kids and the things and the stuff? No.
I don't think so.
So like
I'm not sure.
2 weeks ago, and I posted on TikTok, posted on Facebook, I was going for a run. And I ran all the
Oh,
way
yeah.
out on Diplomat. And then as I came up, hung right onto Del Prado Extension. There's no barrels on that side of the road. 2-lane thoroughfare. 2 lanes, and then there's a divider, and then 2 lanes. All down Kismet are barrels, and then coming up the other side of Del Prado Extension, heading towards Diplomat are barrels. But the area that I'm heading down, no barrels. Now, before I get to that intersection, I'm about 1.5 miles in. I'm wearing my earbuds, the ones I always wear, the over-the-ear ones. They're not the inner ear. And as I'm coming up Diplomat, they say disconnected. They don't drop out. They just say disconnected. Well, that's fucking weird. I'm like holding the power buttons. They're turning on, but I couldn't get them to connect. But I'm into a run. I don't want to slow down because your heart rate, your tempo, all that. So now I'm running with my earbuds on. I'm listening to my phone, the music in my phone, because I can't get my earbuds to connect to them. I don't want to stop running yet. And so I make that right hand turn, and I'm running down Del Prado, and I hear, and I look, and I see a barrel, the same type of barrel that Morgan pulled out of the canal when we went fishing. The thing came sliding down the road, hit the curb right next to me, stopped, and all of a sudden behind me, like a white Nissan Maxima just sped up and took off. I looked around, and once again, there's no barrels. I'm like, where the hell did this barrel come from? Now, I'm all full of adrenaline. I'm trying to do the math. I'm like, well, there's barrels on the other side, 4 lanes over. But if they would have hit that, if somebody came up the street would have hit those barrels, it would have flew at me, right? It wouldn't have came the other direction. So I was like, well, there's no way that happened. Only thing I can gather is kids being assholes. They just driving down the street, somebody leaned out the window, grabbed the top of the barrel, just drug it down the street and let it go, try to bowl me over, right? Not a big deal. The things only weigh 15 pounds, give or take. Morgan, you picked one up. They're not exactly light, but they're way lighter than they appear because it's distributed into a hollow shell. And so they probably tried, all right, let's just knock this guy down like Donkey Kong with Mario with the barrels. Boom, boom, boom. You know, fine, it could have been funny. I could have blew out a knee, busted an ankle, hit my head on the concrete. But here's the weird thing. And you guys know we've been around since 2018. I think maybe we've done one episode on anything slightly religious. But I couldn't shake that out of my head as I was getting ready to head back. I was like, fuck this. I want to get my 3 miles in. I'm not going to let these jackass. And plus, it was prom night. So that's the other reason I'm sure it's pretty high school kids dicking around. You know, it's prom night. We would do similar shit as kids. Here's a fun thing we did as kids, if you want something to do. We would drive down the country roads. Remember the glass Snapple bottles? Remember in the 90s Snapples? We would take those and we would try to hit street signs with them. Either the speed limit signs or the turn coming up. Now, Morgan, if you're going to try to hit a road sign while driving down the street, do you have a certain approach or technique for said application of trying to hit the sign?
Well, I would probably be stupid because I'd probably be slightly inebriated if I was trying to do that as a teenager. And I would probably throw it ahead at the sign so it would hit just about the time I'm driving by it.
You're close. What we had figured out is you don't throw it at the sign, you throw it straight out the window. So while you're traveling 45 miles an hour, much like a bomber, you throw it straight out the window. So all you had the time was the difference from your door to the distance away. Let the inertia of the traveling car take the bottle and smash in the sign. And we got really good at this. And one day we're driving down the street. My buddy Nick was in the back of my truck eating a pint of ice cream. Saw a dude on a bike. Tried to do the same thing. Thank God he fucking missed him. So I know high school kids aren't above trying to hit fucking pedestrians with random objects. I've seen it happen. Luckily they missed. But here's the part I couldn't get through. That just struck me as weird. The whole fact that my earbuds disconnected. They didn't die. I got home, reconnected them, listened to them for another hour and a half. They didn't die, but for some reason, don't know. Obviously, my life wasn't in danger per se, but I could have went ass over tea kettle and hit my head on the concrete or something. You know, got all less smarter than I am now. But it was just one of those weird situations. Like, have you guys ever had a situation where you're questioning, was that divine intervention? I mean, how weird is it that I've ran in these earbuds, or just earbuds in general, all type of wireless earbuds. Batteries never ran out. I've never lost connection in years. But the one night my earbuds, they don't die. They just say disconnected. And then 50 yards later, I got a barrel rolling at me, and the only way I heard it coming, and I looked, and I kind of jumped out of the way. That kind of stuck. That's still sticking with me 2 weeks later. I can't help but not think about that. Have you had a situation, Mike, like that where afterwards you're like, there's something else is afoot here? Do we believe in coincidences? Is that weird? What's your opinion on what happened to me, Mike, and do you have something similar?
I don't know. I tend to be. I'm not a religious person.
Me neither, but there's certain things that make you start to say,
Yeah, I tend to believe, in the spiritual realm for sure, and God, the Christian God, and things like that. So, I definitely think that everything happens for a reason. I think that it is designed to build your character, and it is designed for you to experience things so that you have the opportunity to, you know, put it out there for others, you know, to, you know, for like, for example, for like this, you know, entertainment purposes, stuff like that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head where I've had a coincidence like that, where at least nothing that I can think of right now, but I'm sure I have. But yeah, I would definitely chalk that up a little bit more to like the, you know, the spiritual aspect of it, I guess.
What about you, Morgan?
Well, I was a hooligan when I was a teenager, and full disclosure, I am, I'm not a very good Christian, but I am one. And um, we used to go, and in Oregon, in Portland, where I lived, a lot of the roads had been paved over so many times that uh, there was a pretty good hump when you cross over a road, a main road that had been paved a bunch of times.
Through an intersection.
So exactly. So, for a 16, 17-year-old kid in a 71 F-250,
That's Dukes of
that's
Hazzard
a
time right
jump.
there.
That's a jump right there.
We had one. We had
What we-
I forget the name of it. Everybody in Grove City knew the train tracks. There was a train tracks that everybody could hit. And they finally went out there and leveled it out. We used to get 2-3 feet off those train tracks.
So we would actually take turns sitting across the main road, making sure that nobody was coming, while whoever was, tearing through the neighborhood, how nobody ever called the cops on us. I mean, that's divine intervention in itself. But one time I hit that so hard that when I came down, I was on the front bumper. And the scrapes were so far up the bumper that there was no way that truck didn't go on its lid and kill it. And I could feel it, feel the bed coming over. And I'm like, oh, this is it. I'm cooked now. And all of a sudden, the truck just went back, landed on its wheels, got sideways, almost hit the school at the end of the street. But, that's when I knew that my grandmother, called her my Nana, she was right. She'd look at me and say, God takes care of fools and drunks, of which you're both.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But I've had several things over the course of my life that I just can't explain how I made it through. So I fully believe in divine intervention, that God has us where we are for a reason. Yeah. Currently, I don't know what that reason is, but I'm where I am because that's where I'm supposed to be.
It's interesting because I'm seeing more. I mean, clearly for at least the last, 15 years, it's been kind of and it got real heavy, real strong the last 8 years. There's kind of been a war on Christians, right? It's, and Jews too. The Muslim thing was, let them do what they want to do, which is so weird, Hey, gays for Palestine. You realize they'd throw your ass off a roof over there, but hey, go ahead and say what you want to say. But there's always been kind of like this war against religion, conservatives, and just people who aren't extreme left. But more and more people that are coming out like on podcasts and stuff, and they're not just talking about like political stuff, but more and more people are starting to question, like, I don't know, it's like shit has gone so crazy over the last 8.5 years that more and more people who were, I think, probably previously more agnostic. I don't want to say atheist, but maybe agnostic, are starting to say, I think there's something bigger going on here, and we're seeing a lot more evil and a lot less good. Look at the P. Diddy shit. How insane is that?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan pointed out a very good question about that. He's like, P. Diddy come up with all this stuff on his own? Because if so, he's literally a criminal mastermind. For him to think up, roll out, and maintain that type of organization to have to the point where he's got freaking I just completely went blank. The host of Family Feud, the modern host,
Steve Harvey?
Steve Harvey.
he had Steve Harvey in a relationship for 25 years. Steve Harvey was basically his sexual toy for 25 years. The girl from
I did not know
yeah,
that.
they're not talking about it on the main news. You got to go on TikTok and people are reading the court transcripts. They're reading the transcript. So Steve Harvey was basically in a relationship, and the weird thing is, if you go back like 2 years, there's been rumors about Puff Daddy having a relationship with Steve Harvey's daughter. No, that was the cover up for why the Puffy was always over there. Yeah, no, Steve Harvey admitted to this in court because of federal subpoenas. Kid Rock testified. He got caught in. Not that he had any turns out he didn't have any sort of dealings with it. He's actually been collecting evidence from people who's come to him, and him and his legal team turned over their evidence talking about payoffs and blackmail, and the feds apparently were able to line up these claims with check deposits and withdrawals. So like that's been tied together. Jennifer Lawrence, the chick from Hunger Games, she said she got sent to one of his parties. Black SUV, no plates, showed up, took her phone, made her sign an NDA. She said, luckily nothing happened to her, but she saw one very famous person, didn't say the name, was terrified going into a room, saw some girl that was younger than her, and she's like, who's that? And somebody said, don't worry, she's just here for training. Dude, the amount of people that Ashton Kutcher's name's been brought up a bunch of times. Now they're talking about looking into Brittany Murphy's death. We brought this up in the past, but I didn't have all the details. But Brittany Murphy, who's that rapper again, Mike? Mac Miller? Mac Lethal?
Mac Miller, yeah.
Brittany Murphy, Mac Miller, and like 4 or 5 other people in Hollywood who died of overdoses all had the same personal trainer. Just so happens this personal trainer, because this personal trainer's grandfather was the pharmacist who ran MK Ultra with the CIA in the 1960s that used LSD to experiment on people, including Charles Manson. So his family lineage. Now they're not saying there's any ties yet, but how crazy would it be if this personal trainer turned out to be like one of the hitmen for Puffy?
Puffy's executioner, huh?
Well, here's the crazy thing. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember this. Remember after Chris Cornell died, and then there was a brief, real quick rumors, and I could never substantiate it because I heard about it when I worked at K-Rock. People were saying, well, Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell both passed away because they were working on a documentary about pedophilia in Hollywood, and the people were talking about, where they snubbed out. Well, then remember, who's the famous cook who had the TV show? Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, Anthony Bourdain.
Anthony Bourdain committed suicide briefly after paying off a victim of his girlfriend. Turns out Anthony Bourdain's name has been associated with this documentary because Dave Mustaine from Megadeth was talking about on somebody's podcast about how Chester, Anthony Bourdain, the guy from Soundgarden, and another actor, all 4 of them were working on this documentary, and all 4 of them killed themselves. So how crazy would it be if all these conspiracies that people have been putting out in the world all comes back to what... To answer the original question, I don't think Puff Daddy started this.
Yeah.
We would have to go dig out the episode. When I first brought this up before it was in the news, because I heard about it, but I had a hard time finding information. The guy I first heard the story from was talking about one of Puff Daddy's first mentors in the music space was an old Jewish guy who ran Motown. Some believe that he may have been starting that shit back in the Motown days, and he kind of groomed Puff Daddy, and this is all.
He was the one that started Motown, wasn't he?
This is all speculation and just things that I heard before this shit all. Because if you guys remember, I mentioned this on the show. Like, you guys hear what's going on with Puff Daddy, and we didn't have a whole lot of information at that time because, it was just I'd heard it from a guy who makes his entire content by just getting FOIA requests for any sort of court hearing that has to do with any Hollywood stars. And so when Puff Daddy got arrested, he'd gotten these transcripts and he started talking about it, because it turns out how Puff Daddy kind of got caught was two things. One, this male prostitute was arrested and talked about how in the 90s he was, because he was trying to get out of, he was trying to turn state's evidence. Let me give you a bigger name, leave me alone. So and it turns out his name has come up as Puff Daddy used to hire 4 or 5 male prostitutes to come piss on his girlfriend after he beat her up. So to all you people who went to high school with me who love Puff Daddy, when he's talking about pimping the hoes, you probably didn't think he's talking about male hoes, but yeah, this shit's just insane. But it's like pure evil. But back to the beginning, like Joe Rogan said, is he just this mastermind genius, or is he just kind of the guy who was kind of put in the situation to be the face of this shit? We'll never know on that.
Yeah.
But now,
back to your overarching point,
which would be pure evil, right?
I'm not by any means a Bible scholar, but if you read Revelation, which basically outlines the end of times. Now, to be fair, they've been saying that, the end is near for, ever. But I mean, you read some of the shit that's in there, and it's, I could see myself standing on the end of, on the corner with a sign that says the end is near, because, some of this stuff is just too evil to be anything else.
Yeah, I don't know. It really starts to make you think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff is really in depth. I mean, I even think you had mentioned that like Biggie might even be involved in a lot of that shit.
Because apparently his name's come up.
Which sucks.
Biggie gave Puffy his name. You know why they call him P. Diddy? I never knew this. His name was Puffy. You know what the Diddy part came from? It was an insult. Notorious B.I.G. considered him, the big guy on campus. He was the Donkey Kong. What was Donkey Kong's sidekick's name? His nephew. Diddy Kong. He was the little one, so he called him P. Diddy. That's where the Diddy came from. But yeah, it's the amount of people who have testified and names have been brought up. And by the way, let's not forget Cat Williams. Cat Williams was on Shannon Sharp's video before all this happened. He kind of got the ball rolling, because he went in the Shannon Sharp talking about all these. He didn't say anybody by name, but he was basically laying the groundwork, and he started mentioning, they pay you $50 million to show up at these parties, you sign an NDA, and you get part of their procedure. And he started talking about all these. He didn't name them by name, but he said, yeah. He said it's real funny. You get into their club and they issue a light-skinned wife who never says shit. And then, like in the video, they show all these famous black actors who have white-skinned wives and never talk, never interview. Much as I hate to say it, who's short little dude that always hanging out with The Rock?
Kevin Hart.
He might be caught up in this shit too.
Really?
Yeah, because even in that interview, if you go back and watch an interview on Shannon Sharp, he's like, he was like, oh, I just fucking forgot his name again. Just said it too.
Cat Williams?
No, not Cat Williams, the other guy, the short dude.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah, he's talking about how Kevin Hart always claimed that, he came up to the comedy clubs, and Cat Williams like, no one ever remembers seeing that motherfucker starting out. There's not one story anybody ever talked about seeing him at the Improv, or then him talking about growing up, blowing up on the East Coast right around the same time. And he's basically talking about how he called him a plant. All circumstances, all hypothesis. We're not saying this is true. This is just what they're saying. Was basically he was part of the system. He bought in. Wonder Will Smith did too. There's people who claiming pure speculation, pure conspiracy. There's photos of him hanging out with Ellen. Some people saying that's why Ellen fucking hightailed it to Ireland. But I don't know if Ireland has extradition or not. So the amount of people caught up in this shit, and like Steve Harvey said Cuba Gooding Jr. was called in there. Even he's saying, I'm not trying to save my ass, but I should have came clean a long time ago. Now they're not saying he did anything yet, but that he's at the party. He said he saw some shit. the Lawrence chick, the one from Hunger Games, in her stand, she said,
Oh
after
yeah, Jennifer Lawrence.
she said after that party, she's like, I was so psychologically fucked up that I couldn't work for 3 months. And then in the YouTube clip, they show all the headlines. Jennifer Lawrence is suffering from exhaustion and is going to rehab. Had nothing to do with drugs. It was the fucking nightmares that she was going through, what she witnessed at one of his fucking parties. But just
shit.
the level of people that were involved in this, pure evil for all these 30 years or more?
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, easily, because Bad Boy Entertainment and all that, that was popular in the, early to mid, 90s. Kind of after the whole East Coast, West Coast debate, that was why Southern hip hop and Texas hip hop, Georgia shit, stuff from
Mike
ATL and all
Jones.
that. That's why all that
Dirty
shit blew
South.
up. Yeah. That's why
Timberland.
that was the reason why Southern crunk style hip hop had exploded, was because everybody was tired of the East versus West shit and all the fucking gang shit and stuff that was going on apparently. So
Monique, she got invited
Yeah.
to a party, didn't go, refused. All of a sudden, and this is the scary part. He has so much grasp over so many powerful people, because it was all at the end of the day, Morgan, all comes down to sexual blackmail. That's what the whole thing was. If you're a high power dude, he'd get you on video without you knowing, being with a minor, being a pedo. What he would do to the African American community, he thought, okay, this Morgan Long guy, he has some talent. I saw him playing. He might very well get a record deal. Come over, Morgan, drug you up. You wake up in a room being raped by a male prostitute on tape. And then he says, Morgan, tell you what, I'm going to sign you to a record deal. I get 40% of your money from your records. I get 80% from your shows. And basically, he'd blackmail high numbers off of their shit. And as it was explained early on, and I think Cat Williams may have even said this. Somebody said this on a clip. At that time in the 90s, the worst thing you could be in the urban community was gay.
It's gay.
So that's why,
Yep.
so that's why this shit held on for so long. But yeah, it's fucking insane.
Yeah, and nobody want to be a punk bitch.
It's insane. And I was thinking, if there's any justice in the world, we know Puff Daddy's going to get found guilty, right? Fucking hands down. But if there's any justice in the world, he will get sentenced to maximum security prison, Gen Pop. No federal prison. Federal's too safe.
Yeah.
He needs to go to Gen Pop on maximum security. Because
I don't know. Ask Jeffrey Epstein how safe federal prison is.
Well, that was a whole different level of power there. That was CIA. That was all CIA, and some people believe that Britain was involved in that. That was a whole different level. Some people are saying that this is a smaller level, but to your point's well taken. But here's my point, right? After he gets found guilty, all the civil suits are going to start happening, right? And all those people that he was able to blackmail portions of their sales and this and that, that's all going to get taken away from him. So when he gets in the General Pop, he'll have a little bit of money for a while to buy some protection. But as these civil suits start coming and they start taking away residuals and this and that and legal fees, his bills are going to maintain, his income's going to go down. Pretty soon he's going to be out of money. And then being a pedo of that magnitude and such a horrible person in General Pop at a maximum security prison, and you no longer have money to pay for security, his life is going to turn up upside down on him real fucking quick, and hopefully it's slow and painful. That's all I got to say. So yeah, I don't want to go to federal prison where he's like in some room by himself 12, 23 hours. No, he needs to be in Gen Pop with every every just rapist and murderer. That's what he is, right? He's a rapist and murderer.
Well, I can tell you that 10 years from now, he probably won't be the top.
Hopefully,
No.
10 months from now, he won't be the top.
No, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen.
Do you guys get the reference?
Yeah, I get the rest.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
He'll be a power bottom.
Yeah, power bottom.
Mike, you're the only one with the youngest kid amongst us. Has your boy wanted to go see the new Lilo and Stitch?
No, I don't think he's interested in
It's live action.
Like he was never really, yeah, I know, but he was never really super interested in because I'd say that's like a niche movie, right? Um,
Not if you're a Disney fan.
yeah, but even if you're a Disney fan, I'd say that's
I
even
love
a
the
niche.
original cartoon, but that was like when I
So
was in
so
high
what's
school.
the
Great.
niche?
What's that?
Well, I don't know. I don't necessarily know what the. I mean, you'd have to be like a real in depth. Like I've got all the movies, I've got posters on the wall type of person. I think to really enjoy and want to go see it. I think the average person, in my opinion, I mean, the average person knows the Toy Stories, the Lion Kings, the what are the other fucking big ones? I can't even think of.
Jungle Book. I watched that. The Jungle Book was
Jungle
good.
Book, maybe
Snow
even
White?
yeah.
The Jungle Book
Yeah,
was really well
Snow
done.
White. Yeah, Snow White.
Well, that's a good point.
The Mickey Mouse and all that stuff. I mean, all of those I think are classics to me. I mean, Lilo and Stitch came out when I was
96, 97, I think.
yeah. Well, I don't even know. I think it was a little later than that.
Well, and I guess that comes down to uh, maybe a generational thing.
That's what I was just
Because
thinking too. Yeah.
I haven't been really interested in a Disney movie probably since I don't know. I mean, my grandparents took me to see The
Wow.
Rescuers for my birthday back in the early '80s.
2002.
Right.
That's a
Yeah.
little later than I thought.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get that, and I watched some Disney movies with my kids when they were little, but
Well, where do you
You
land on
know,
Finding Nemo? Because
Do
Finding
what?
Nemo was
Now,
transformative.
but now there's a
But
difference.
that was Finding
because-
Nemo Pixar though?
Yes,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
the
That's
difference.
why.
There's
Yeah.
a difference between
Oh,
regular Disney
Cars.
movies. Yes, there's a difference between
Cars was
regular
probably
Disney
one of the
movies
best.
and,
you know.
and Disney Pixar movies because Pixar is a whole different fucking world, and I would 10 times would rather watch a Pixar movie than a regular Disney.
Yeah,
movie.
Pixar's really good with they put a lot of energy and effort into the storyline.
Yeah,
Well,
Well, the
especially if
animation,
you
too.
take Cars for example.
yeah,
For an old guy like me who loves roadside attraction stuff, I mean,
Oh,
Cars is, it's actually made for adults.
yeah.
It's all about the death of, you know, 50s and 60s America.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just wrap it in a package that the kids can get with.
Yeah. So anyway, no, he has not seen it. I'm not aware that he has any desire to see it. I don't
Morgan
think he's-
brought
I
up
don't even know if he's even seen the original. So
Morgan brought up Snow White, and we know
Yeah.
the fiasco that was.
yeah, I heard
Wasn't there-
about it, but I never really dove into it very much. I guess the fucking main actress or whatever that played
Well,
Snow
she
White, I
ran
guess
off
was
her
fucking-
mouth, but they did change the story
Oh,
to
yeah.
instead of the whole Snow White was
to make it more progressive
well
and all that shit.
and I get it. I as a guy who has two daughters, I get it. You don't want your children's influences to be reliant on men. But yeah, they changed the whole storyline where she's an independent woman. She ain't gonna. And people didn't like that. But the Lilo and Stitch stuff that's an interesting one, and that's kind of my point. It's like everybody wants to blame Disney, and Disney's responsible. But if you truly have an issue, you need to bring up the name of the people who actually wrote the fucking story and wrote the
Yeah.
script.
Yeah.
Have you heard the new controversy? Because everything's controversial now. But the scuttlebutt about the new Lilo and Stitch.
Mm-mm.
So real quick, the basic storyline of the original cartoon and nowadays, Lilo and her sister are orphans. Their parents died. The city's, children's services trying to track them down, or whatever. They're trying to hide. Stitch comes down. You got this Department of Alien Affairs trying to find him, and there's this kind of intertwining thing, and the whole through line, the whole thing, the whole target on the posters is Lilo and Stitch is all about family. They have a Hawaiian phrase in there. I forget what it was. It's
Ohana.
Ohana
It's about
means
Ohana
family.
is family.
Yeah.
Well, in the new one, and it's kind of interesting. I get where people complain about it, but I can also see where people are like, "Hey, in the new one, It's real. The plot, her excuse for doing this, and the new one, her sister gives her up to DCF at the end.
Okay.
And the reason they it's like they ran out of time.
Morgan thought that was funny.
They did not give her a good. The bigger complaint is she didn't give her up to DCF because she's strung out on weed, or they have or heroin, or they do some storyline about them not having money, and she thinks, you know, instead of doing a feel good, hey, you know, you'd be better off here because I'm just struggling. She's in Hawaii. The movie takes place in Hawaii. Her sister gives her up to Children's Services so she can go off to college on the mainland to study, anyone? Marine biology.
Psychology?
Gender studies.
She's on
Gender studies?
They're in
Yeah.
Hawaii. The Hawaii College has one of the best marine biology programs in the world. But in this movie, she has to give up Lilo to DCF so she can fly to the mainland to go to college to study marine biology.
Yeah. And I'll be back, I promise. Yeah, bullshit.
But here's where I don't know why they went that way, but I guess I can kind of understand it because there are a lot of people out there in foster care, and there are a lot of foster families out there who do a damn good job and do provide quality housing for kids that are in a bad situation. And it is awesome to think that Disney wants to kind of paint foster families in a positive light. But when you take this particular film, instead of writing a new film to shine foster families in a positive light, when you take a film that the whole through line is families stick together, and you decide, well, this family's not going to stick together for the betterment of Lilo, but we need a reason why she's leaving, you probably should have wrote something different than I'm going to the University of Iowa to study marine biology when you're fucking in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going to go to the University of Iowa to study the history of quilt making. That would make more sense, right? Something that's a little more in line with.
I want to study agriculture.
There you go. I got to accept it to the future farmers of America. I'm going. But no, and so people are like. But it's surprising that Disney did this after the blowback, unless the project was just too far down the line, right?
That's
Well, but a
probably
lot
what
of
it
these
would be.
big corporations, they just don't get it. Their heads are so far up their DEI asses that, you know, they just don't understand.
No, they do understand. They're
regular
following their marching
people don't-
orders. Here's how that shit went
Oh, yeah.
down. Coca-Cola and you're not white enough, all that shit, here's how it went down. You guys already know, like, majority of the corporations in the world are owned by one of the four hedge funds, right?
Mm-hmm.
State Street, BlackRock, the four big ones. They pretty much own every goddamn corporation. Well, they started this organization where you get a rating on diversity, equity, and blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
Well, not only did they start this board, but since they own most of these companies or controlling stocks in these companies, they would show up and say, hey, Tina's coming down from this company. You guys got to listen to what she says. And I strongly suggest you guys implement some of their fucking rules and policies. And that's how it was able to roll out so quickly, is because basically the controlling stockholders, AKA these hedge funds, came in for what's the purposes? I have no fucking idea. I don't know why, but yeah, but slowly some of them are trying to turn around. But when the controlling interest and controlling portion of your board is tied into the people who actually run the company doing the rating system, it's insane.
Oh yeah.
We've all been lied to. You
Well,
know,
that's a fucking given.
we were out kayaking with Mike's son, and he was doing something, and he's on his phone. Yeah, we're busting his balls for being on his phone on a kayak. And we're talking about, hey, you're on a kayak fishing, enjoy. And I looked to him, I said, enjoy the out. What did I say? I said something like, you better enjoy life before the robots take over. And so we're going to make t-shirts that says enjoy life before the robots take over. So as somebody who's been carrying a firearm for over 13 years daily, One of the biggest inconveniences is when you come home, you need to take your firearm off of yourself and put it somewhere safe, somewhere secure, especially if you have kids. Now, I know most of us are responsible. We have a gun safe somewhere, but let's be honest, usually these gun safes are big, they're bulky, they're kind of out of the way because they're a bit of an eyesore. Your wife doesn't want them where everybody can see them, so sometimes they're in your closet behind some clothes, sometimes they're in the garage, sometimes they're in the mudroom. And let's be honest, taking your firearm out and walking to those locations to secure it is a pain in the butt, but you have to be a responsible firearm owner, especially if you have kids in the house. That's why you need to get yourself a StopBox Pro portable gun safe. You can make it non-portable. You can drill some holes in it, mount it to a place of convenience in your house, but it requires no batteries and no electricity. You simply come in your house, walk up to your safe, choose your finger button combinations, open a safe, remove your firearm from your person, put it in the safe. If you close your safe, just that easy, it's secure. So do yourself a favor, head over to stopboxusa.com/D410 and get all the information today on your StopBox Pro. When seconds count, trust the only non-fail firearm storage box, StopBox Pro, at stopboxusa.com/D410. Here's an interesting thing I was never aware of, really. So we all know that music there's only so many notes, right? That's why songs tend to sound the same. We've done shows on it. There's only so many chords, there's only so many arrangements. You're going to have music sound the same. Did you ever think about storytelling? And why storytelling tends to movies and books, plot lines always kind of, oh, that reminds me of this, or that sounds like that. Did you know there's only 7 true storylines in storytelling?
How do you figure?
So, the 7 basic plots of storytelling. The 7 basic plots, why we tell stories. You have the meta plot. That's plot 1. Meta plot begins with the anticipation stage in which the hero is called to an adventure to come. This is followed by the dream stage, which is the adventure begins, and the hero has some success and has illusions of invincibility. However, it is then followed by the frustration stage. So meta plot is storyline number 1. I'm sorry. Yeah, meta plot, then subplots. Overcoming a monster. That's one plot line. Rags to riches. That's another plot line. A quest. Kind of think of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, which is based on Homer's book. Voyage and return. Comedy. Tragedy. Rebirth. Those are basically your 7 basic plot lines. If you think about every story, every movie, every book you ever written, the plot is based around one of those 7, or you can intertwine them, right? You can mix, you could add 2 or 3 of them. But yeah, the basic storytelling comes down to one of those 7 plot lines.
Okay.
Which I really never put much thought into that before. I thought it was pretty interesting.
That is.
What you looking at there, Mike?
Oh, not a whole lot. I was actually looking at the What's in Your Head Facebook page.
And what's going on there?
Not a whole lot, actually.
Yeah.
Just dillying and dallying as always. Not a whole lot going on over there. Kind of quiet. Some crickets.
I saw
Old Mr. Don A. posted a video testing a new trolling motor kayak setup. I wonder who did that.
with Mike. Yep. I saw a rolling fossil the other day.
A rolling fossil? Sounds like a vehicle of some kind that is really old.
Technology.
Or it could be a person in a wheelchair.
Whenever I see young kids driving down the streets in their souped up Honda Civics back in the day, or they got their 1,000-mile-an-hour spoiler that does absolutely nothing but kill their gas mileage because they don't know how to apply it properly. They sure as shit didn't get the equipment out there to make sure it's at the right angle. You see them all beat up, dented up, exhaust hanging off, shocks all worn out. It's like racing's expensive. That's why everybody has sponsors. But here you are trying to do it on your McDonald's salary. Then now they're in their 30s driving that same blown out car. Their pregnant girlfriend in the side. Car looks like shit. see somebody in their 18, 19, they work for 2 years and they get that custom paint job before we wrapped, right? Everything was done paint, and they had the early 2000 lines on there, the multi-layered lines with the hashes and the flake, and now it's 2018 and you see that guy in his 30s, and once again, you know, cars just beat. Shit doesn't carry well. It has no shelf life. It's not like you're taking a 65 Mustang and having it repainted. Even if you went to Mako and they painted over all your badges, you know, you can still clean that up.
Mako, do they even exist anymore?
He went and got a Mako. Yeah, you can get a Mako as long as you spend 3 days taping off your car yourself and drop it down there on the trailer. Because all they do is cover up the windows and the mirrors, right? Everything else just gets painted right over.
Yeah.
I pulled up next to this Suburban. What's the Ford Expedition from? Gotta be the 2004s. Guy's headrest, big old hole cut out of him. You can see the fucking foam because back in 2004 he had the DVD screens in the back of his headrest for the kids, and now they're gone. You just have these empty cavities and just seeing the foam turning all hard yellow and just all brittle and shit, and see where it's all cut out, and just you're looking at this thing like, yeah, but that was a sweet ride 20 years ago. But
see, when you think about that, when you would do like custom stuff, because I used to watch videos of guys that would make custom like fiberglass.
My neighbor used to do that. He'd make fiberglass
speaker
boxes.
cabs and pods and all that kind of shit. And you think about the technology over the years, from the 80s and the 90s when Alpines and stuff like that were real popular, and then your undermount fucking EQs and
amplifiers,
and your amplifiers and stuff like that,
end and your mids, and
you think about all that stuff, and you're like, how many cars have you sat and spent all this time and all this money building and doing all this extra shit, and nowadays it's just obsolete after fucking 6 months? None of that shit even exists anymore. Most people don't even put custom stereos in their cars anymore.
you don't need them
because number one, the sound quality on most vehicles is almost, it's absolutely insane. It's like having professional audio.
Yeah,
in
when
your vehicle.
when you get a flat tire and you go to get your Sparrow, your hatchback, and you take the cover up and you see a Bose subwoofer in the cavity where they're putting subwoofers in the upside down spare tire to utilize that airspace, you're like, oh, no wonder it sounds so good in here.
I had one.
Well, is car stereo theft even a thing anymore?
No one steals stereos anymore.
I don't think anybody's stealing anything on cars anymore, are they? They're just taking the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, no, they take the guns out of the dashboards that dipshits leave in there.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that. But I mean, as far as like, nobody.
So it's burglary instead of theft.
Yeah,
but nobody. I don't think anybody's breaking into cars to
steal the radio.
There's no singles. There's no din and a half. There's no double din stereos or anything like that anymore.
Well, unless you live in a neighborhood and your neighbor. Yeah. My rule of thumb is when I had my Sherwin Vega 15s, I would turn off my radio a mile from my house.
Yeah.
So when I pulled in the apartment, no one knew. So I'm sure because you hear occasionally, you'll hear the guy with the subwoofers. I'm sure there's some subwoofers getting stolen, but other than that, no one's stealing head units anymore.
Yeah.
That day's long gone.
Well, it's. I saw a Facebook post the other day. Pioneers come out with a retro radio. It's a single din. It has a door. It looks like a cassette deck door, but you flip it up, and that's where your USB plugs in and all that.
But the only thing that sucks.
And I thought, man, that's super cool. I want one for my 87 F-250.
Yeah, but
until I realized the thing was $425.
Yeah.
But you're the only guy who can utilize that because everybody else's factory dashboard has a 5 din. So you're going to have a single din with a big black fucking faceplate around it to cover up that hole. Either that is going to tear down
what they're marketing
to
is they're marketing to old dudes like me that have
the classics.
That have original
it's for the
classic vehicles.
Yeah. That's
and
for
it's
guys.
also for the guy. It's also for the pathetic guy that had the dope stereo back in the 80s or 90s, who's like, Now I finally got money where I can really afford this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make this vehicle look as, as retro and original as it can. And this fits it.
Well, it's interesting because as long as I can remember, I've always enjoyed, modifying my vehicles and stuff like that. Not so much anymore because I'm tired of working on my back.
You're
And
talking to a guy who recarboned a dashboard in his 91
Yeah.
S10 and his 85 Samurai with marble contact paper.
yeah. So as far as, car stereos and stuff like that goes, I mean, it's still fun. That's why I have I have, like a four-wheeler or, I have my boat or my kayak or something like that, just because the vehicle stuff. And because number one, it's getting so expensive to modify your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to pull the stereo out of my truck, it's going to cost $400 to find some kind of a replacement because it's all one piece.
It
I've
depends.
It's all touchscreen. It's all one touchscreen thing.
Yep.
Plus my knobs they're separate. It's
Yep.
not all one. And then my air conditioning controls are all below that.
It depends.
And is it going to be better?
Yeah, it depends. I've looked into this, and it depends on the age.
so.
My dad's
Yeah.
Taco, I was able to put in an Android unit because he didn't have all that. My
Yeah.
daughter's 2010 Hyundai, I put in an Android unit. They're like $100 a piece. But to Mike's point, I can get a $300 version for my Tundra because my AC
Yeah.
controls go out too. But then there's the $500 equivalent. And you look at the reviews, and it's like the $500 equivalent is the one that's going to work the best. Some people saying, the $300 version, you're losing features. So, that's real hard to do because that's the only thing I hate about my Tundra. My Tundra is a 2018. My head unit has a CD-ROM on it. Other than that, I
Yeah.
love everything about my truck, and that's the other thing too, right? Everything is so intermixed. It's they don't even call them radios anymore. They're infotainment systems because
Yeah.
a lot of the new ones, like your air pressure will be shown on your radio, your blind spot, your GPS, all that stuff. And so affordable head units are hard to come by, and the damn factory speakers are so good. And furthermore, I'm afraid I've been doing this shit for years. I was an electrician for ambulance for years, but I'm afraid to touch door panels because they got fucking airbags in them, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to put new 5 1/4s in my door. Fuck you. I ain't taking that shit off.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to send a fucking even take the battery off. I'd be afraid I couldn't get the door panels on there right with the airbag systems and all that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen what you're talking about, as far as those where they, design, it looks exactly the same, but maybe they've elongated the screen. I think yours is an elongated screen or something like that they changed.
Yeah,
for
they
your
changed,
truck,
and then all the AC buttons are digital instead of analog.
I think the only time nowadays where, when you're doing customization, especially since we're talking car audio specifically, is, well, and back to my point for your truck, Morgan, I've been seeing radios like that, like LMC Truck. I don't know if you've ever subscribed to their magazines.
Oh yeah,
What's the
for
magazine?
years.
I used to go through theirs for my S10 when I had that, my 83 Custom Deluxe. I had, their magazine subscriptions, and I used to see, when technology has, over the progression and everything, you can get for a 1987 or a 1983 like I had, a stereo that looks factory, that has Bluetooth, that has Sirius XM capability, that has, USB ports and stuff like you're saying. There's a little hidey hole where the old cassette deck would be, so that you can plug your shit in or whatever. So that's perfect for guys that like you, where you still have a daily driver that's, from 87, where, guys that do resto mods and stuff like that, maybe they don't want it exactly original to the factory because they still want it to be somewhat modern.
But they want the feeling when someone sticks their head in the window that looks like
Right.
a head unit from 1992.
Yeah, they want tasteful upgrades.
Right.
And Custom Auto Sound has been doing that
Yeah.
probably for the last 25 years.
Right.
They actually have radios that when you turn them on, they have a digital display.
Yeah.
But when you cut the power, it looks like an old AM, slide rule
That's funny.
tuner.
Yeah.
So
Well, and the only other application that I can see these days is, I don't know if you've ever heard of Soundman. Doug Bernards, I think, Don, you might have seen him a few times, but he used to he was one of the originators of the iPad Dash Kit, where he would take, he designed this slider that would custom mount into your dash, and you would have to mold it and all this stuff and, plastic weld it together and then shape it, do all this shit so that you can mount an iPad into your dash or any kind of tablet for that matter. And you slide it in, it locks in place. You've got it hard docked or it'll charge, all that kind of stuff. And you can actually take your dash out of your vehicle, what your bezel basically,
Yeah.
ship it to him or any one of the other certified people that he has now to be able to custom mold that so you can put a tablet in there. And also
So
have
it's
all the
obsolete even
amplification.
faster than your
It's
than your
exactly.
stereo
It would be. However, I do know that like your more popular brands of tablets and stuff like your Samsung Galaxy Tabs or whatever they are, and then like your iPads and stuff like that, most of them have the same size specs. So he's able to use the same kind of slider for the same ones.
And that's
But,
the other thing you got to look into when you're looking at these head units is
yeah.
like, why is this price? They actually have different size hard drives in them, so you can store music and shit on them.
Yeah. Which I think these days, I mean, that's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Because everybody streams.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I've got Sirius XM in my truck and my wife's car. I hardly ever turn that on anymore. And
Well, I also
still
think
pay-
the hard drive is used for temporary storage buffering, so that your music doesn't stop when your connection drops out. It's
Okay.
buffering it ahead of time.
Okay. I do know that Nissan in particular has an issue with that because anytime that I put on my Apple CarPlay and I have my phone, my truck is old enough that it has to be hardwired. You can't use because the newer ones are all wireless now.
Yeah.
But when I pull my Google Maps up, because I actually prefer Google Maps, and I'm playing Spotify at the same time, it sounds like it's cutting in and out, like it's glitching. You can hear like, it gets like fuzzy, almost like static sometimes. And that's probably just because they have a shitty processor in there and it's not being able to comprehend and be able to put directions in, in real time and play the damn music at the same time. And it's actually a common problem. So
My factory Tundra radio, I didn't know this was a thing until I bought this. It has DAR, digital audio
that's,
recording on the
digital audio
FM.
recording.
So
Yeah.
I could literally, like when I listened to Stan Haney after I stopped working there, like if I got in the, if I was driving and I got on the phone,
Yeah.
when I got the phone, it's basically when you got on the phone, it would pause their show for up to 2 minutes, and then when you hit play and they got the commercial, I could fast forward through the commercial break and then
Yeah.
hit play until I finally caught it in real time. So that was a cool feature.
That was a Sirius XM thing that
Yeah.
had
Yeah,
actually started
exactly.
back in the day, where you could and that wasn't original.
But this was for FM
Like
radio,
when they
which
first
was cool.
start, yeah, and FM that's even crazier because, but that's all has to do with your vehicle
Yeah.
too. That's specifically with your equipment.
You're
But,
talking about these throwback cases for radios. The
Yeah.
computer nerds are doing that right now. There's a company who makes, remember the old IBM towers that sat flat, Morgan? They had the slot in the little purple, and they had
The
the
desktop.
floppy.
Oh yeah.
They're remaking that now, and it looks like a floppy drive, but when you pull the side off, it's a high-end gaming computer.
yeah,
And I'm like, oh, that's
Oh,
kind of
wow.
cool, but the case I actually have in my computer right now that I just rebuilt, I bought that case in 2004, so I already got a real 20-year-old case. Why buy a fake 30-year-old case? Because I used to
Yeah.
work on those computers in the early 2000s. But yeah, they're doing that now. You walk in someone's room.
but they're just standard cases though too. I mean, they take. I mean, I'm sure there are motherboards out there that are different sizes and whatnot, but if it's this base, type of motherboard, whatever,
mini
whatever,
ATX.
because there's like 4 manufacturers that make all the same fucking motherboards.
Yeah, we have
but there's
ATX and
different-
mini ATX pretty much.
Right. So I mean, they probably have their 2 specific sizes, and each case is probably designed to have slots for both, interchangeably.
Well, what they did on this case is all the it's a single plate, so you don't actually have.
Yeah.
You're not losing the space for the base for the floppy drive and all that.
Right.
And so you have all the room in the world in the with the front end.
Right.
Here's
I mean,
another.
you could take a classic case from probably like the 80s and the 90s, and you could probably custom make it like that yourself if you wanted to.
I pissed off so many people on the internet in 2005.
Uh-oh.
I worked at CompUSA in their tech shop, and CompUSA was the only place you could buy Apple stuff because the Apple Store hadn't opened in Naples yet. And this guy had bought the it was the Power Mac, whatever. It's the big stainless steel fucking their highest, most expensive thing. But it kept having warranty problems where the temperature, the thermostat on it, the temperature monitor was malfunctioning, and it would cause the computer to shut down. And we got replacement parts, tried to fix it, to the point where I can't remember exactly what happened, but Apple basically replaced the computer. And I don't remember why or how. I think maybe it was when Apple, so Apple replaced the machine, and the old one sat in the tech shop. Well, then CompUSA went out of business. So now I had this Power Mac with dead insides. So I took it home and fucking dremeled the shit out of it, and I had the most high-end expensive Mac on the market with fucking like a compact Rosario motherboard and an AMD processor running like Windows fucking 7, Windows 2000. I put up pictures of it on the internet. People were pissed.
Wow.
Why would you do that too? Well, because it was a paperweight. It's a very cool box, but yeah, I had that thing for years. I finally got rid of it.
That seems like that's becoming more and more common too, is that a lot of computers, I mean, unless you are into it and you buy a tower and you build one, or you buy a pre-built one or something like that, most computers these days, they seem very throwaway.
Oh, they
And
are.
I think that's like that with a lot of products. I mean, the technology and the hardware inside of it is obsolete by the time they even put the product on the shelf.
For the company I work for, 5 years. If it's over 5 years,
Yeah.
and right now, because Windows 10, by October of this year, if you have Windows 10 and you want security updates, you got to pay a subscription for it.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft doesn't want to pay the salary for people to maintain an old operating system. And so
Right.
people are buying new computers. And to your point, these Lenovo's are smaller than my drop box. I mean, they're literally boom, boom. And they're basically, they got laptop motherboards in them, laptop RAM, laptop hard drives, no CD-ROMs. And so they're super tiny.
Yeah.
And that's also why, 8 years ago, my dad and I, we went from being a computer repair shop to an IT firm because we saw the writing on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to pay you $150 an hour to work on a computer that they bought for $400.
Right.
And so that's when we started managing networks, because all the cost was in maintaining what you had. I remember my dad was running a business networking group, and this lady said, yeah, my nephew just opened a computer company in Michigan, and he has this one customer who's not paying him the bill. My dad's like, why? What happened? Well, he was there at her house for 8 hours. Yeah, I can understand now someone not wanting to pay an $800 bill for. I said, that's why we had, at the time, we had flat rates. It's like, if we knew it was going to take more than an hour, I'm taking it to my shop for a flat rate, and if I work on it for 2 hours or 3 days, it'll cost you the same. But I can work on 12 of them simultaneously, opposed to me being at your house and you getting all my time. But yeah, so that's why you don't see. When's the last time you seen a Geek Squad commercial for computer repair?
Yeah.
You don't see them at all now, but for the last 5 years, when you did see them, they were for home entertainment installation or washer and dryer installations. They stopped promoting computer repair a long time ago because there's no money.
Well,
in it.
there used to be TV repairmen.
Yeah.
Because you used to fix your TV. You didn't, throw it away and buy a new one for $199.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's because they were also extremely expensive, and people never had the money to be able to, replace them on a regular basis. I mean, people can
And not
afford
only that,
$600 TVs these days.
And who wants to haul a 4,000-pound console TV out of their house?
Exactly.
Well,
They want to get it fixed just for that.
Well, they also had FRUs. They had field replaceable units. Your TV could go out and you just need a $12 tube. Now it's all solid state and motherboard, so there's very less things to replace.
Exactly. Plus, the TV also, it became a piece of furniture too. With they were wood cabinets. I mean, some of them were really nice for the time period. So.
I had poor man picture in picture. Remember that? Picture in picture. That was a thing. You know why
PIP.
picture-in-picture went away? Because it required 2 inputs. You either had to have 2 cable boxes, or a cable and a satellite, or cable and an antenna. No one could do that. Or you had to have a dual-channel cable box. But I had poor man's picture-in-picture.
But that was basically watching 2 things at the same time, right?
They started out on big screens. So you'd watch your football on Fox, and then you hit PIP and a little tiny, kind of like our shit here on our Zoom.
That's right.
And you could switch it to NBC. But the problem is you had to have either 2 cable boxes or cable, and so no one did that. So everybody's picture-in-picture was cable and then static from the antenna, or a blue box that said number 3 on it.
Yeah, they did that digitally for a little while, but I don't think you see kind of shit like that anymore.
There's
so.
no reason for it. Here's another thing that technology wiped out: home entertainment systems, audio, the Bose Lifestyles, and I still have up in my attic right now. I still have my Kenwood from 1998 that was Pro Logic. And I just hooked up my Radio Shack brand Dolby Digital receiver that I bought back in 2010. And I still have my Sherwin Vega bookshelf speakers and my powered subwoofer out in the garage now. But I used to install center channel, left satellite, right satellite, the rear satellites, the subwoofers. Now you get these sound bars that have the simulated surround sound. It's like, I remember the first time I listened to one, I'm like, I'm never running fucking speaker wire underneath the carpet again.
Now they're all
Bluetooth.
Now they're Bluetooth.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not to mention, like I just got one from my father-in-law, which is not new, but it's actually the same soundbar that I already had, but he had the subwoofer upgrade for it.
Yep, which I have in my bedroom.
Which is wireless and Bluetooth and all that. So all I had to do was just plug it into the wall and make sure it connected to the soundbar, and that was it. The only other upgrades that you might be able to have, or you might want to add on, is if you want actual surround sound, you can buy the upgraded little speakers to go behind you, and that's it. That's all you need.
If you guys are getting a new TV, or your kids getting TV, hey, you need a sound bar. TV speakers sound like balls.
Shit.
But
I think they do that on purpose because they want you to buy the fucking
well,
sound bar.
no, and Morgan, and you know this as well as I do. You used to make sound relies on airspace, and there's no airspace in TV.
Not in the flat screens, no.
Not on the flat screens. And even remember the Bose Wave radio that, you no longer need 18 satellites. Those things are still as big as a fucking shoebox. So even the Bose Wave radio, because
I actually still have one
because it basically redirected all the air. But yeah, when you're going out soundbar shopping, do yourself a favor. If you're broke, wait an extra pay period. Do not get a soundbar without a subwoofer because it still sounds flat. You need that subwoofer. The one I have in my living room, there's no subwoofer. We don't watch TV out there. The one in my bedroom where we watch TV, it's still $150 cheap soundbar, but we got the one with the subwoofer. You need that bass.
When I got it, I was and I plugged it in, and I played around with it too because wireless, you can put it where the hell.
Well, bass is non-directional. It don't matter where you put it.
Right. But I figured, well, let's try it, where it's closer to us to see if we can kind of feel it a little bit more or whatever. And I put on some music, and I was like, well, that's a bit too much. So I put it back over, by the entertainment stand, or the TV stand as they just call it now, because entertainment centers don't exist.
Well, because there's nothing entertaining to watch.
Exactly. Except our show. You can watch that on YouTube on your big screen in your fucking living room. So fucking subscribe and watch, you fucks.
Yeah,
anyway. I put it back over there by the TV stand.
And we never hit any of those 7 plots.
Yeah.
I want that to be our new promo. Yeah. Subscribe, you fucks.
Subscribe, motherfuckers.
The only problem with that is if you cuss within the first 15 seconds of a video, you get demonetized.
Well, just put 15 seconds of bullshit in front of it, and then at the very end, just have me yelling, subscribe, you fucks.
We'll make that the closing on it. Instead of, this has been a Digital 410 production. It'll be subscribe, you fucks.
Anyway, yeah, just the difference in realizing, because again, it's the exact same soundbar, that I already had.
Yep.
But it was just, he gave me another one, the exact same one with the sub, and the difference was, it was like night and day. It was so weird.
We're all so old that we used to play Xbox and Super Nintendo and Nintendo Atari 2600 on 13-inch black and white, 13-inch color tube TVs. Yeah. All the rich kids have big screen TVs. Fast forward to 2025. I have so many big screen TVs in my house. I got one leaning against the wall that I swapped out with my living room just because the one in the living room was smaller and it was easier to store. Because I got my dad's 60-inch that survived the flood, so it's out in the living room. I got another 42-ounce out on my second refrigerator that's not plugged in. I have a 32-inch hanging in my garage. It's like, I'm lousy with fucking TVs.
Yeah.
It's like, they're so ubiquitously cheap now. I mean, you can go to Walmart and get a 65-inch TV for $500. I remember, and we talked about this before, when was the George Bush economy check that he gave out the $500? 2004?
2004 or 5, I think. I think it was 5, maybe. Maybe it was 6 because I think because it wasn't the stimulus check that had to do with the
2008 had to do with the housing market crash.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it was because Obama took over in 2008, so it had to be like 2007
yeah.
maybe.
My $500 check went to buying a 32-inch TV.
You want to know
that's
funny?
small as fuck by today's standard. 32-inch. I wouldn't make my kid watch their video games on a 32-inch.
You want to know what's funny?
What's that? You did the same thing?
My COVID money went to buying my living room TV.
But everybody said that, right? All the talking heads are saying that. It's like, well, you're giving people out money for COVID. It's like, well, great. Anybody under the age of 30 is just going to buy an Xbox and a TV.
That's just funny, though, because in 2007, your fucking stimulus George Bush money went to buying a 32-inch. And
you got a 75-inch for the same
My Biden
price.
COVID money went to my fucking 70-inch.
Yeah, 70-inch TV.
Yeah, your 32 was $650 back in the day. My 70 was $600.
The crazy thing is now, try to buy a 32-inch TV.
Yeah.
No, they're called monitors.
Yeah. They're computer monitors now.
Ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Because I tried to find one for the camper.
Yeah.
And, it's like, no.
Yeah.
It's like you can buy a 60-inch TV for $150.
Yeah.
But, try to buy a 32-inch and you're spending $400 or $500.
Amazon, man.
Yeah.
Amazon will have a smart TV that's probably a 32-inch for you that'll work perfectly. It'll be there tomorrow.
And they're light as shit.
And they are, too.
Hey,
they weigh like fucking
or
10 pounds, if that.
When you're driving down to see your wife, I got a TV you can take with you.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Shit, yeah, everybody's got this excessive amount of fucking TV. Everybody that I know has an extra, like,
well,
two
I'm
TVs.
the same way. I've got 3 extra TVs at the house.
Yeah.
And I'm down one. My daughter just moved out. Hey, you want to take your TV with you? I'm carrying a 7-inch TV. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I have so many. It's like, here, take your TV with you.
Well, and then you've got computer nerds here too. Not to mention TVs, fucking computers and monitors on top of that. I got 7 computers by myself, and I'm not an IT guy.
I got 3 computer monitors in front of me right now. One
Just in just in his office right there.
My new gaming monitor, 165 megahertz.
Yeah.
32-inch, and it's concaved.
Yeah.
It folds towards me.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I'm watching you guys on my older. Oh, by the way, you guys probably hadn't noticed, but I noticed because my camera had been sitting on my smaller monitor, it would shake.
Yeah.
So I went on Amazon yesterday and got me a mono stick, and now my camera is steady, so now it no longer shakes.
Yeah.
So now
I think this is a 20. The one that I use as the main screen in here is a 27. It's curved. It doesn't have a lot of curve, but it's got a little bit. But
I bought it primarily
it'll run
for the
in.
165
I think this runs
megahertz.
I think this runs in like 8K or something like that, but Zoom doesn't. Zoom runs in 1080. But yeah, it's ridiculous how many people you talk to. They're like, "Hey, do you need a TV?" I'm like, "No, I got 5 myself. What? I don't need a TV." You can't even donate them. I think there's probably warehouses full of fucking TVs.
No, you can't. You can't donate. You can't in the early mid 2000s. When people start going flat screens, you would take a CRT monitor down to the fucking scrapyard. They'd make you pay them to take it.
Yeah,
they don't even want them.
Yeah, that's wild. That's
I don't even think you
crazy.
could take a TV to a fucking Goodwill. They're like, no, we got too many.
Well, and it's interesting too because my first flat screen TV I still have. It's in my son's room. It's a 52 or a 55 or maybe it was 54 or something like that. It's a Sony Bravia. It's not a smart TV. It weighs about 900 pounds because it's the older technology. And it only, on a nice summer day, that room probably gets about 140 3 degrees on average, just because that thing is radiating like a fucking wintertime radiator from Pennsylvania. And it's
That's probably giving him cancer.
it probably is. You have the fucking California's Prop 65 doesn't fucking exist down here. That's for sure.
It's
Not
good
in this
for
house. But yeah, that's probably making my fucking AC system work overtime. That's for sure. But it still works. Why would I get rid of it if it still works? Right? That doesn't make any sense. Why we all have TVs? And we hang on to them for as long as we do.
That's why I got one leaning. Now the one that's leaning against the wall, I got from Stan.
Yeah,
It's his old TV, but I don't want to get rid of that one because that's the one that has the 4 color.
right.
It has the extra color, so it's RGBY. It actually has the yellow in it. And
Oh, wow.
but that thing weighs.
Remember, go ahead.
And then I have another one out in my garage. It's like I can't bring myself to throw the shit in the trash,
Yeah,
but I can't really
Yeah.
give them away per se because they don't have the mounts on them. They were wall mounted, so they don't have the foot stands on it. So now like, I'll give you this TV, but you got to go out and spend $200 on a wall mount.
right. That's your monitor.
Yeah, that's my monitor.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice. Do you remember projection TVs?
Yeah,
Remember the short stint when they were were like real popular. Well, I mean, I know they were pretty popular back in like the 70s and 80s for
yeah,
rich
but
people.
we're all too poor to see those. Like I had
Exactly.
like one kid in my neighborhood, the rich kid. But the
Yeah.
problem with those, you get a little roughhouse in your fucking house with 2 boys, and somebody slams in that, knocks the guns off fucking kilter. So then you have
Yeah.
a perfect picture of a blue outline. Cause then you go, well,
I
I got to bring the
remember-
TV guy out to adjust the.
I remember when I
light.
was living in the trailer park in North Carolina, if there was a fucking projection TV on the side of the road, it was going in the back of the truck. And I picked that bitch up and I took it back to the house because I knew we were poor. We didn't have enough money to go buy a fucking new TV or a flat screen or anything like that.
He didn't
My-
care that
my
some
ex-
kid
my-
gouged out the screen because they always
Yeah,
those plastic screens always had gouges, crayons
Yeah.
on them, and plus this is a day too, right? Those projection screen TVs because of the way the screen was flat on the outside, but on the inside they were rigid, like a corrugated roof. So
Yeah.
that meant we sell this as a modern day. This is an upgrade on your new phone. Privacy screen where people to the left can't see it. People from the right.
Yeah.
No, we
Yeah.
call that projection screen TV
Yeah,
in the 80s. Dad got the
that's
center of the
old
room.
technology. And remember when you'd scrape your nail across it, it would zip like a fucking zipper. Zzz.
But not only that, but mom and dad got the center of the room. Little Tina had to sit to the right, so her vision was a little bit darker. But Johnny was on the far left. He couldn't. I can't see, Dad. Tough shit. You had to earn your way to the center of the TV. Yeah, so
Yeah,
just like a privacy
yeah.
screen on a laptop, depending
Yeah.
on the way your couch was.
Yeah.
And I used to sell TVs. There was a rule of
Yeah.
thumb. There was, I forget what it was. It was something like you needed 4 feet of distance for every 20 inches or some shit.
Yeah.
So like if you bought a 65-inch projection, you had to have like 14 feet from your couch to the screen.
Yeah. I even went as crazy one time. I was like, I was going through a Kmart, and I don't know what I was doing. I think it was back when I was in the military. I was walking around Kmart one morning. It was like early in the morning. They were still open 24-hour, kind of like Walmart used to be. And I was like, oh man, this is cool. They had one of these cheapo fucking projectors, $50. I bought it. I brought it home, plugged it in. Was like, this is great. And I, in the living room, I had it set up on a stand and everything like that. I bought a sheet, put it up against the wall. It was going to fucking work out awesome. And it was all right. I thought it was going to be a lot better than it really was, but it's a $50 fucking projector from Kmart out of like the clearance bin. So
Old or
it
new?
wasn't it? Huh?
Old or new?
What do you mean?
How long ago was this?
Oh, this was at least a decade ago.
Okay, so that was even worse. Because these young kids
Yeah.
see these projectors now, they run off LED lights. Back then, it was halogen.
No.
So you have a fucking
No, this had
200
a
degree
bulb.
light shining over your head.
This
your room
had
would
a
get so
bulb.
fucking hot.
This had a replaceable
Yeah.
bulb. If that shit burned up, you bought one,
Yeah, and
and
they
it
were
was like
halogen.
$18.
You couldn't touch them with your skin.
Yeah, I bought
And
a
they got like 2,000
I bought a
degrees in your
$50
room temperature.
Yeah,
$50 projector off of Prime Day on Amazon.
yeah,
And I use it every Halloween. I bought a screen to put up. I put it in my front yard and put Charlie Brown, the Great Pumpkin on it for the trick or treaters.
there you go.
And it's great. Best $75 investment I ever made.
Sure.
I still have
You
our
know,
Epson. We have an Epson
Yeah.
projector from when we had at computers. We went to trade shows. The thing's so old it has S video and RCA cables and a VGA port on it.
That's what mine had
Yeah.
on it.
And I used to
I've got
shine it
one
on
of
the
those too.
I used to set up
Yeah.
my garage and do P90X. But once again, I'm in a Florida garage with a 200-degree fucking halogen light bulb behind my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect.
Here's the
Just
answer.
what we need.
For old projection screen TVs, the ideal viewing distance is generally between 1.5 and 2.5 times the screen's diagonal size. This meant that a 100-inch screen should be viewed at a distance between 11 to 13 feet. And so if you had like
Makes
a
sense.
50-inch, you needed what, 6 feet? So you
Yeah.
had to have a big-ass living room. Maybe that you couldn't see. It's like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because I had a few of them over the years there when I lived in that trailer park, and I remember the one that I got. It was like supposed to be a lot nicer. It looked a lot nicer than the one that I had before it. So I brought it home and I was fiddle fucking with it, and I was trying to get because it needed adjustment. It had yellow in it,
It looked like
and
the
I
old.
noticed it had RGBY. And
It
I was
looked
like,
like-
oh, this picture should be awesome. And back in the day when that son of a bitch came out brand new, that motherfucker was expensive because it had the extra color.
But the problem is when those guns got knocked off, it looked like the old 1950s 3D movies when you didn't have the glasses.
Yeah, yeah. You could see all the different lines and outlines
the
of the
yellow,
characters
red,
and
and
stuff
green,
like
yeah.
that. But what was interesting was that I had one that was automatic. It would automatically adjust, but that shit was fucking.
It
that
took
didn't work.
forever. I had one.
But that one that I had with the yellow, it actually had a DVI port on it for
Wow.
your computer, which I thought was interesting. But I wasn't smart enough and didn't have a computer that was good enough to have a DVI port on the back of it to be able to plug it in, so I never got to fuck with it. But I remember pulling the screen out and manually adjusting everything, and it had, if you've never seen the inside of one before, you've got three projector bulbs basically down there. This one red, green, blue, and then a yellow one. There's 4 of them actually, and then they all point towards this mirror because it shows out of the projectors. It shows it in reverse.
That's why they're so deep. And then
Right.
in the
Yeah.
late 90s, early 2000s, they started making the more compact ones. Mm-hmm. They kind of look
But
like
it would project onto that mirror, and then it would reverse the image back normal to you. And then the screens, the plastic that they had, they designed a lot of them. They were magnetized.
Yeah.
By whatever percentage it was, so that would actually blow the picture up as well when it got to the screen.
And so when Steven's head
was
got
pretty
put
cool.
into the fucking screen when you're roughhousing, now your image
Yeah.
was all wavy too.
yeah, wavy, and then let's not forget if it wasn't cleaned right, you would get all the specks and all that kind of shit, and it would, yeah,
Yeah.
classic technology from back in the day.
Yeah. I've lived a life
The,
where I've
the
smashed.
things we put up with.
I've been around this planet so long, I've smashed my finger in a wringer washer and complaining about my
Or ringer washer. That's,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, you lived country bumpkin back
well,
in the day.
we were living in Richwood at the same
Yeah.
house that that's 2 truck stops and a White Castle. Now I actually have drone footage of that, but I'm trying to find old footage of like photos of the house when it was still around. But we were so poor that our washer and dryer broke, and this property had been in our family since the late 1800s. And this is like 1983. And my grandmother said, "Hey, the last time I remembered 30 years ago, go down to the barn, Aunt JD's wringer washer. It was a mobile unit. You hooked your garden hose up to it. It had the
Wow.
agitator and the drum in the bottom to wash it. And then above it, it had 2 wringer wheels, and that it were electric. And you would just feed your clothes in there, and it would wring out the water. Well, I was like 5, and I put it in there, and sucked my fucking thumb. Now, this isn't modern day stuff with ratcheting, until you unplugged
Yeah.
it. It was like pulling my fucking
Yeah.
hand in.
Yeah, that shit didn't have no fucking safety on it or
No.
anything like that. Your arm was getting fucking put in there whether you liked it or not.
Yep. So got my thumb stuck in a wringer washer, and
And we liked it.
that's the way it was, and we liked it.
Yeah. Well, get your finger caught in between a fucking a bicycle gear and a chain.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Remember flipping your bike upside down and fucking with your shit?
Oh yeah.
Put it on the seat and the handlebars, and you sit there and you make your wheel spin real fast, and all of a sudden your finger would go, and you go, fuck!
Yeah.
Did I ever show you guys this?
What you got there, Don?
That looks like a ball.
This is one of the oldest things in this ring that's not military related.
Oh wait, that's a gumball machine, isn't it?
No, Morgan,
Or
your
is it-
turn. Well, first look at the logo.
Well, I see Miller High Life.
Oh, nice.
This is
Beer balls.
That's a beer ball.
peanut dispenser from the 1920s and 30s.
Wow.
Okay.
You fill this full of peanuts, and it was a peanut dispenser. Peanuts dropped out of here. I got this at Flea Master. And look, there's
That's
even,
cool,
there's
dude.
even
You
old
need to clean that thing up and put some fucking peanuts in it.
It still has old peanut dust in it. But yeah, no, I've had this for a couple years. It's sitting on
Don't
top.
breathe that in. It's probably varnished now.
Peanut dust.
That's probably still healthier than
Go in your
Monsanto treated stuff.
Yeah. Go in your closet and get your COVID mask out. We don't want to fucking get
Oh.
California cancer again.
I'm such a fucking nerd.
Uh-oh. He just realized something over in the corner that he didn't realize he had. Look what I found.
COVID masks were so hard to find that one of the companies who makes our reproduction World War II uniforms started making them. So this one's made out of the HBT camo uniform that the Marines wore in 1940.
Oh, wow.
And this one's made from the silk that the paratroopers had. And then I have one that's made from the OD green from the Army uniform. So I actually had World War II replica uniform. That's the only reason I still have them is because what they are. So they're hanging on my wall here in my studio. But yeah, I actually
That's cool. That's cool as shit.
custom made COVID mask.
I mean, as ridiculous as I'm sure that probably was doing reenactments.
No, I didn't. I
Probably
wore those
feel
to
as-
work. I didn't wear those to reenactment.
Oh,
I
did
just-
you? Oh,
I just
okay.
thought they were cool. I mean, everybody had like wearing buffs and all that shit. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, I have fucking authentic HBT camo shit, and I had
There
one
you
from
go.
the same. I had a blue one that was made out of the material that they made the Navy jackets out of. So I had like 3 or 4 of them.
The bomber jackets?
No, oh, it's in the other room. The blue, when the Navy, they had their light blue shirts, but then they had their denim jackets. It was made out of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, their outer coat.
Yeah, their utility shirts. Do 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 do.
The old boiler.
The old sausage swipe.
The boiler jockeys.
The old sausage swipe.
Sausage swipe.
Sausage swipe. Have you played Helldivers 2?
No.
It's an interesting game. It reminds me of Halo, Gears of War, and the way they made it, it's very reminiscent of Starship Troopers. You're fighting bugs in it, but like the humor in it, it's very reminiscent of Starship Troopers. It's a pretty crazy game. It's one of those you need multi people. It's on Steam, but yeah.
Have to check it out.
You guys have anything else on your list you want to cover?
I'm
I
good.
don't
We're
think so.
136
We're
minutes
pretty,
in.
Yeah, we got a pretty good one.
That's going to wrap it up for this episode of the What's in Your Head podcast. Please head over to what'sinyourhead.com. Click on any of those banner links if you're looking for fishing gear, some dog treats, some gun-related items. Go click on those, and we get a little kickback on those. Please head over to youtube.com. Look for D410 Media and Poles and Paddles. Those are 2 different channels. And like and subscribe on those. As Mike said on the Digital 410 Media, you can see when we went out all over God's green earth on his... we actually hit up Cecil B. Webb and another lake in the same day because Cecil sucked. And then we went to the ocean the following day. Or no, the following weekend.
Fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Combined those two. And but yeah, head over to YouTube, check those out. And as always, go to what'sinyourhead.com to find all of our previous episodes. And until next week, we will talk to you all later.
This has been a Digital 410 production.